Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Balance Sheets Matter. Today I thought I would cover a topic that has been affecting everyone lately regarding inflation and high food costs. And the big question, which is being spread a lot in the media and by politicians, are grocery stores price gouging consumers? And you can see here, why is your grocery bill so high? Canadians blame price gouging survey finds. And I'm going to go over in this video why, if we just look at the basics of the financial statements for these different grocery stores and big box stores which sell groceries, we can clearly see that this is not true. But regardless of this fact, which is very simple, there's hearings of the politicians, interrogating the CEOs, and they're basically gaslighting the public. And then, again with Vox here, prices at the supermarket keep rising, so do corporate profits. Is it really inflation or something else? Well, I can tell you it's just inflation, and with a few minutes of looking at the financial statements, we can figure that out extremely quickly. And they go in talking and things, these are up 22%, 21%, 31%, profits are up, this and that, and it looks like people are price gouging. And the same thing by the numbers, are grocery retailers in Canada gouging consumers? And goes in, stacks up all these numbers, and they just try to create this narrative that that's what's happening. And when they do surveys, over 30% of Canadians think grocery stores are price gouging. So, you can read these articles if you want yourself. And this is also one of the reasons why a lot of people feel justified even shoplifting from these grocery stores, because they think they're being ripped off and the grocery store's price gouging. So let's look at the financial statements and see what they have to say. So we're going to look at Walmart, Kroger, Costco, and Loblaws. These are a few of the publicly traded companies. They're kind of these big box stores, but they do have a large grocery component. So if you already know the industry of the grocery stores, they only have a profit margin of between 1% to 3%. And this is exactly what we see in the financial statements. So while over the long run, their revenue keeps rising and rising and rising. And a lot of this is because they open new chains, and because of inflation, the prices go up. Well, when their costs go up, they have to raise their prices as well. But as we go down, a little bit down the income statement, we can look at the net margin and actually see how much they're making. So this is all the way back in 1993. And we can see that Walmart, for example, was making about 3.56%. Sometimes they make a little less, sometimes they made marginally more. And as the years pass on, they've actually been making less lately. So Walmart is actually making below what they would normally make on their net margins. In the last fiscal year, only 1.8%. The year before, 1.91, 2.39 before. So we can definitely see that Walmart is not engaging in any price gouging at all, since they're actually making less money than before on the net margin basis. They may be making more gross profit because the prices of goods have gone up, but the amount of money they take from every $100 they sell you spend at the grocery store, for example, in the last year, was only $1.82. So if you went there, you had a $100 grocery bill. Walmart, at the end of the day, after they've paid for their goods, they've paid their employees, they've paid their rent, they've paid all their other expenses, and they've paid their taxes, which, fairly high taxes. They paid 34% taxes in the last year there, quite high. They only brought home $1.82, which then goes to potentially the investors, or they keep for reinvestment in the future. So let's look at Kroger. Is it going to be different? Am I just cherry picking here? Well, let's pop over to their financial statements here. I'm going to breeze through these. It's all going to kind of be the same. Let's pop up the 30-year data here. And what do we see? Net margin here again, sometimes they lose money. So you got to make money for the years to counterbalance when you lose money there. 1%, only 0.5%, 2%, 1.6%, 1.5%, 1.8%. And let's go up to current date, 1.5%. So Kroger, again, they're not price gouging. Their net margin is right where it's always been. It fluctuates a little bit higher, a little bit lower, but it's in the same range it's been in for the last 30 years. Let's jump over to Costco. Look at their 30-year financial data here. Bring that up, scroll down. What we're doing is we're looking at the income statement, and this, remember, ladies and gentlemen, is why balance sheets do matter, even though this is an income statement, but it's the name of the channel, so we're going to go with it. And again, in the past year, they've had times when they lost a little bit, 1.47%, almost 2% there, 2%, 1.7. We go on in the years. Costco's gradually been increasing a little bit. They're up to 2.58% net margins now. So what does that mean? Their profits are higher than before, but we're talking maybe 0.5%. And what does that really mean? If you spent $100 at the grocery store and you're considering, oh, Costco's been price gouging because they have higher net margins than before. It means they made an extra 50 cents on your bill that they didn't make before. So really, what is 50 cents on your $100 bill? You have to think realistically, is that actually going to have any significant impact on your life? Is this really considered price gouging? And now let's go finally on to Loblaws, a Canadian supermarket, and general store as well, but mostly groceries. You had a superstore, No Frills. They got a bunch of different chains there. And because Canada's been the real hot topic about the food prices and the grocery store price gouging, again, we're going to bring up our 30-year financial data. Let's wait for that to load up. Go down to the income statement. And what do we see? We see in the past, they made around 2% here, 3.15, 3.69. Sometimes they lost a little bit of money. Sometimes they make a little bit under 2%. Sometimes they make above 2%. Sometimes they make above 3%. Well, what did they do in the last fiscal quarter, like last fiscal year? 3.32. Before that was 3.4. And in 2020 it was 3.5. Again, this is in the upper range of maybe what they've made in the past, but it's completely in line with their historical amount. And if you feel it's unfair they're making marginally higher profit margins than before, again, let's even look at 1%. 1% on your $100 bill is only $1. On a box of cereal, say that costs $5, it's 5 cents. Do you really think you are being price gouged by paying an extra 5 cents for a box of cereal? And a lot of it, they're looking at, oh, well, these articles and these politicians are saying, well, in previous years, you made only so much and your profits have doubled. Well, it's a selective data. The profit margins, as you can see from the historical 30 years here, they go up and down. So sometimes they make 1.2, sometimes they make 2%. And if you go from 1% to 2%, even though it's still a very low margin, your profits are actually doubling during that time. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was more enlightening that we can look through all this nonsense from what the politicians are saying and the fake news out there. And if we look down to the financial statements, we can realize the truth that no, grocery stores are not price gouging. I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.